Hello everyone, so today I would like to continue a video series that I started on my main channel that I called Is It Worth and then something, and I started that with Is It Worth Reading when it comes to some sequels, and I'm gonna link that down below. And today I want to talk about if some of the super hyped books are worth it. All the books will be linked on Goodreads down below if you want to check them out and see what they're all about. And yeah, so let's just jump right into the video. So the first one I wrote down is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green, and this is something that was incredibly hyped and something that I still talk about even now in my videos, and that's because I love this book. I think it's definitely worth it. This one is 100%, and do I think everyone should read it? I know that not everyone's gonna like it, but I think that everyone should check it out. And it's a contemporary romance, but it's much more than that, and I feel like this is even for people who aren't into reading romance that much. It's definitely not the main focus of the book. Yeah, but it's just so much, I feel like this book is just really deep, and that's why I think so many people would like it, because it's not only about their relationship and all that kind of stuff. In case you don't know, the main character has cancer and she goes to this support group, or I don't know how they call it in the book, and that's where she meets Augustus, who's her love interest, and it's not only about the illness, but it's just about everything, and it's just so deep and beautiful and just so raw and real. And of course it's not completely realistic, but still it has this super human feel to it. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just super awesome, and I think that it's hyped for a reason. I definitely recommend it, and I definitely think this one is worth reading. The next one is the Shatter series by Sarah J. Maas, A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I feel I've never heard anyone talk about it in real life, people I know, but people on YouTube talk about it all the time, and I feel this is definitely a hyped book. But I feel this is not the extreme kind of hyped book, but it's still really hyped, and I mean everyone on YouTube keeps talking about it, including me, because I think it's definitely worth reading. It's my #1 favorite series in the whole world, so that says a lot. I've read quite a lot of books over the past couple years, 2 years and 3, I don't know, whatever. It's a fantasy romance series, and it's a new adult series, which is what makes it much better and different from all the other fantasy romance books that I've read, because the YA ones are not always that great, but it is incredible. It is seriously so passionate and fun and funny and adventurous, and the world building is great and everything is just awesome, and I seriously think this is definitely worth reading, and definitely check it out. And the only tiny problem about it is that the first book is the least good out of the whole series, because it's not bad, but it's not absolutely freaking spectacular. I loved it when I read it. I gave it 5 stars anyways, but when I compare it to the second and third book, it's but even if you don't love the first book, I swear Akamov is the best thing in the entire universe. It's hyped for a reason again. I definitely think this is worth reading. So next one is the Shatter Me trilogy by Tarmafi, and this is not gonna be a book where I'm read it just like I did with the previous books in this video. It's a dystopian romance trilogy. It's YA. There's a lot of things that writers repeat in YA books, especially YA romance, any kind of, just with any, it doesn't matter if it's fantasy romance, dystopian romance, whatever. In YA there's a lot of stuff that's often very, very repeated, and there's a love triangle involved in this series, which I hoped it wouldn't be the case, but it is. I'm not gonna spoil you anything else. It's pretty obvious since the start that it's probably gonna be a love triangle, so that's one thing that I despise in the YA books. If you just want a book that's really strongly dystopian and focused on that, this is not going to be for you, because the main focus is on the romance. When it comes to me, I did not mind that, because I hate dystopian novels, so I hate dystopia, so I did not mind that the focus wasn't on that, and I like romance, so for me that was great. But the problem with this series is I actually really liked it, Other than the left triangle, I enjoyed reading it. It's really fun and it's just that kind of book that you fly through. But at the same time, the writing isn't as simple as it normally is with YA books. It's very special. I liked it, but there's a lot of people who hate it, and that's kind of the thing why I'm not gonna tell all of you that it's worth reading, because it's not worth reading for everyone. And like this, with a lot of books, it's like one side loves it and one side hates it, but I feel like this has really strongly two like contrasting sides that strongly love it and strongly hate it. I really liked it a lot. Like, I wouldn't say I loved it because of the left triangle problems, but I loved the writing. But a lot of people say that it's like a creative writing lesson gone wrong, because she does have a lot of metaphors and comparisons and all that stuff there. And I understand why it could annoy some people, but for me it just fits my style, so I really liked that. But I would say it's worth reading if you're just not very, if you're just beginning with reading YA books, or just if you don't mind any like of this, any stereotypical things like the love triangles, and just if you're new to books and if you like romance and would be interested in reading something kind of dystopian, then this is definitely worth reading because it is a fun read. But it's definitely not worth reading for those who are very like experienced when it comes to YA and don't like all the stereotypical things and are very sensitive to any kind of weird writing style. And like I said, I can't tell you if you're gonna like it, but I would say just have a look at it, at the writing style, and then just see for yourself if you would, you know, be interested in that or not. Just, it's really focused on romance, so if you're not interested in that, then it's definitely not worth reading. I would say think about it for a second before like buying it and deciding to read it, because it's not worth reading for everyone, I would say. I could see why people wouldn't like it, but I personally liked it, like I said, but it's definitely not worth reading for everyone. The next two things that I'm going to talk about, I'm probably going to join them together, is the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series and Heroes of Olympus by Rick Riordan, and I read the entire Percy Jackson series. I'm in the midst of reading Heroes of Olympus. I've read the first one and I'm like in the middle of the second one, so I still have a lot of books to go, but I can already tell you both is definitely worth reading. I seriously suggest you all to give it a shot, or at least like read the first Percy Jackson book. Like, if you like the first book, I feel like it's definitely not like the worst or anything. Like, if you love the first book, then read all of it, because seriously I adored it and it's hyped for a reason. It's another book that is just so worth the hype, and it's definitely has like a reason to have so much hype going around it. And I definitely recommend this book, this series super strongly. All of Rick's books are just so fun and adventurous, and I always say this when I talk about the books, that I would never expect myself to like middle grade. I prefer romance, and preferably like new adult romance or adult, and just like, or fantasy adult, whatever. Just my preferable stuff is new adult and mostly romance with other like genres like fantasy and sci-fi. And this is a fantasy, but it's middle grade, and it has ships in it, but they're little kids, so like, you know, not really a romance in the slightest. So I wasn't sure if I would love it that as much as I did, but I absolutely adored it, and I seriously think that you will love it too, because it's just that kind of book, like Harry Potter, that just, it's for everyone, everyone's gonna love it. It's just fucking perfect, out of this world, kind of wonderful, and definitely check it out. It's so much fun. It's just adventurous but like meaningful at the same time, and just so fun. The characters are awesome. Rick is freaking wonderful, and definitely this is definitely worth reading. Seriously, please at least try to read the first book in the Percy Jackson series. Like, it's seriously, just please at least try, because it's so worth the hype. The next is The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Bosky, and that is another book that I loved, and I think this is such an extraordinary book. This is like so different from everything I've ever read. I wouldn't even call it contemporary like romance, because it is contemporary, but it's like, it's just so special. Like, the characters are special, and like the main character is infinitely special, and I love him. And just, it's just so like deep meaningful and wonderful, but like fun and great, and it's like the book that's kind of written in like a diary form, and the main character basically writes like letters to the reader, and that's something that I adore. Like, if you don't like that, then like I guess maybe if you hate it, then like don't read it, I guess. But it's seriously, like, if you hate that kind of style of writing, then it might not be for you. But like seriously, I think everyone should at least give this book a shot, because to me it's just like totally like I just love it so much. I'm every time I talk about it, I'm just like I can't even talk about it because it just makes me speechless. And the movie and the book are both absolutely incredible, and I definitely think this is worth reading for sure. It's seriously just incredible. The last thing I'm going to mention is To All the Boys I've Loved Before series by Jenny Han, and this one I did not expect to dislike it. I expected to like it, but I actually kind of hated it. And I didn't see that coming, but it's just this is YA contemporary romance with no other genre involved, and I usually like those books. It's not hard for me to like them. It's hard for me to love them, but I like them most of the time. But this series drove me insane. I felt like the main character was super immature in a way that drove me crazy. So much annoyed me there that I just couldn't stand it. And I never like quit when it comes to series, or rarely. But I read the first two books, and now the new, like, Always and Forever Lara Jean, or whatever it's called, I didn't even buy it because I was like, I can't stand it. Like, I don't want to spend any more time reading it. And the thing, I don't want to tell you that it's not worth reading at all, because I understand that some people might like it and it's hyped a lot, and I'm not like shaming anyone who enjoyed it. I definitely, like, if you enjoyed it, then great for you, but I just did not like it. And again, I definitely don't think it's worth reading for everyone, but it is worth reading for a lot of people, I would say. And if you just like fluff, and again, don't mind any YA like stuff that is just repeated all the time, and just again, like, if you like fluff that is YA, and even when love triangles are involved and just very simply written books, then definitely check it out. It should be worth reading for you, I think. But if you just are sick of all the annoying things that YA books often have in them, then don't read this. I don't think it's worth reading for you, because like, I don't regret reading it, but I would never read it again. And like, I really didn't like it a lot, and like, it's a book I flew through it anyways, because that kind of book that's very simply written and it's kind of relaxing and easy to read. So like, if that sounds like something you're interested in, then definitely check it out. But like, I just really don't feel like, I just feel like I've seen it before. Like, the love interest is just, it's just beginning to drive me insane, and that says a lot, because I actually used to like that kind of arrogant, handsome guy, but now it's just like, come on. And I feel like they didn't fit together at all, and I just did not like the relationship of the characters that got together, and I felt like there was a lot of weird stuff going on around it that I just did not like at all. And so that's why I don't think it's worth reading that much. And that's why I don't think that it's worth reading for everyone, because like I said, I don't regret it, but was it worth reading for me? Like, because I can talk to you about it and share my opinion, but other than that, like, yeah, so that's all the books I have in this video. Definitely let me know if you like the idea of this series, and if I should make it more, if I should make videos like this again. And yeah, leave a comment down below telling me what you think about all these books, if you read them, and if you think they're worth reading. And that will be it. Have a brilliant day, and see you soon in another video. Bye!